Welcome to the I Can Do Anything podcast. My name is Colin, and today I'm talking about NBA basketball from Saturday and Sunday. But first, I want to tell you about a little book that I think you should go purchase because I can do anything. The I Can Do Anything podcast is brought to you by Slump by Dave Jarzina. Jarzina's debut novel is a tale of a 13-year-old named Mitchie Evers. He's at odds with every single person in his life. His friends, even old reliable best buddy Sammy, no longer seem to appreciate Mitchie's sparkling wit. His parents are so busy gushing over his perfect older brother that they don't have time for Mitchie. One by one, he alienates his best friend, family, teachers, and former soccer coach with his bullheadedness and his inappropriate and ill-timed sense of humor. With his penchant for hurting and insulting people, Mitchie makes a convincing jerk. Mitchie knows he's a little too young to be in a serious slump, but what can he do about it? Purchase the book that countless readers recommend anywhere that you buy books, whether it's Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Audible, Apple Books, Google Play, and more. And also by Rangefinder. Do you have trouble finding your range on the golf course? Rangefinder can help you dial it in, whether you're on the tee box, in the fairway, in the rough, or making your approach. Rangefinder can help improve that handicap. Caddies across the world use Rangefinder to help make club selection a breeze, but they won't help with the breeze coming in from the east. My buddy Will Dixon used Rangefinder, and it was it was pretty amazing. We were playing in a like a golf outing at the university, like an end of the year basketball alumni golf outing. And he's got this little, it's like a monopod or like a monoscope, like binoculars, but one. Monoculars? I don't know what the prefix for one is. A unicycle is one wheel. So would a uninocular? Anyways, he uses, what the hell is that called? Anyway, we're standing in like the middle of the fairway, and he just, aims that thing at the tee box, and gets his yardage, and then perfectly picks out his club. I'm not experienced enough or good enough at golf to know what club or how far I can hit a particular club, or what that club's yard range is. But Will is really fucking good at golf. Probably could have, I think did play a little bit of college golf towards the end of his career at Trine, but could have done golf full time at a university. Anyways, he uses his rangefinder. He picks the distance, picks his club, and just hit a beautiful approach shot. Left the thing. It was like, I felt like I was watching professional golf. He just approached it within probably within 8 inches, and then just basically tapped it in for birdie. When I golf, none of the people that I ever golf with really ever get birdies. It's pretty much you're lucky to get a par, and it's usually a bogey or a double bogey. But yeah, rangefinder. I was gonna say if it can help Will, it can help you, but probably not. Will is a good golfer. But anyways, it takes the guesswork out. So stop guessing how far away you are from that flag and start knowing with Rangefinder. Listeners of the I Can Do Anything podcast save 50% off on their next order by visiting rangefinder.com/anything. That's RANGEFINDER.com/anything. Okay. The first game from Saturday was the 76ers and the Nets. Let's talk a little just about the numbers from the game, and then I'll get into, I think, the biggest talking point, which was the altercation with Jared Dudley and Joel Embiid, and just the little rivalry that has developed in this series. So Embiid finished with 31, 16, 7, and 6. 31 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists, 6 blocks. That is a hell of a game if I've ever seen it. Tobias Harris had 24 on 50% shooting, was 0 of 4 from 3, which is pretty uncharacteristic for him. J.J. Redick finished with a low 9. What does J.J. Redick average? It's got to be well above 9 points per game. JJ Redick averages 14.3 points per game this year. Wow. Yeah, so an off night for Redick, but having Embiid back from injury really, really helped. Brooklyn was up for a majority of this game. And I think the ejection of Jared Dudley, you know what? Fuck the numbers. Let me just get right into it. Embiid, after the game, made some comments about Jared Dudley being a nobody, and he's sort of right and he's sort of wrong. Jared Dudley, well, part of me believes that I don't know. One side of me says, you know, what's all the shenanigans for? All the, I don't know. It started with comments due to I think it started with comments due to Embiid. Yeah, no, it was Ben Simmons' jump shot, and Jared Dudley criticized Ben Simmons, and then Jared Dudley in the next game missed a three, airballed the three, and then Ben Simmons put his arms up in the air and kind of like stared down Jared Dudley. And then in this game on Saturday, Dudley hit a three and did the same thing. He put his hands up in the air, and he was just kind of an antagonist, an instigator in a lot of ways on Saturday. And one side of me says, like, you know, the Nets aren't going to win this series. Jared Dudley, you're making yourself look stupid. You know, I don't know. But then the other side of me says, you know, upsets happen. Why is he supposed to just not try? Is he supposed to just be like, oh, we're the lower seed in this series. The 76ers are pretty loaded when it comes to talent, and we're pretty far outmatched. Pretty much at every position. So I'll just throw in the towel and not try. And I don't know, you know, no team is going to do that. Like, why would any player do that? Upsets happen. And, you know, the Nets won a game in this series. I believe they won the opening game of the series, and yeah, they did, and got out to a really good start in a lot of these games, especially on Saturday. They led a majority of the game. So in that respect, I guess Embiid is sort of right. Like, obviously, Jared Dudley is not a superstar. He's really not even I think he's been starting, but you know, Jared Dudley, by no stretch of the imagination, is somebody that really anybody. He's very much an afterthought. I think he probably wouldn't, if there's 400 players in the NBA, Jared Dudley wouldn't be selected in the top probably 200. He's a contributor on a playoff team, so I don't want to put him in the bottom 100 and say that he wouldn't even be selected 300 overall if they were to do like a re fantasy draft type of deal. But the Nets were winning that game. The altercation happens. Dudley gets ejected. Jimmy Butler gets ejected. And then the 76ers surge and come back and end up winning the game by a final score of 112 to 108. I don't know what the score was when he got ejected, but at one point the Nets were up by maybe as many as like 9 or 11 points or something like that. And Jared Dudley was his instigating, his antagonist behavior, you know, just all the antics, all the celebrating after making a defensive stop and getting in Embiid's face. You know, it certainly helped. He was certainly like a catalyst for their team. He's their emotional leader. He's their veteran vocal leader, and his ejection really hurt the Nets, and his poor judgment to step in and run up and like chest bump and kind of push Embiid it was exactly that. It was really poor judgment. Embiid said after the game that, I'm valuable to my team, and I know my worth, and I know that I'm worth a lot more on the court than I am off the court if I were to get ejected. So he just kind of stepped away from the situation, and that led to him saying that Dudley is a nobody and that he's not important to his team. But I mean, while I do sort of agree with him being a nobody, and he certainly has his place, he reminds me of like a Shane Battier type, where he can hit shots. He's a solid defender who can guard multiple positions. He's a veteran leader with a lot of just experience in the NBA and basketball experience in general. So yeah, I guess Embiid's comments are kind of twofold. They're sort of true, and they're sort of not true at all. The other games from Saturday, well, so Philly goes up 3-1 in the series, and now the series, I believe, goes back to Philadelphia, where Philadelphia will more than likely close the game out. Those ejections, I'm not sure if there's ramifications for future games. I don't think that there would be, but yeah. So the next game was the Nuggets and the Spurs. The Nuggets held off a pretty good effort from the Spurs. 117-103 was the final score. Jokic finished with 29, 12 rebounds, 8 assists. On the other side of the ball, Aldridge had 24 on 55% shooting. Forbes hit some pretty big threes, but only finished with 10 points. Was 2 of 4 from 3, 3 of 6 from the field total. Derek White came off his 36 or 38, I think it was 36-point performance. And like I kind of predicted, you're not going to get that kind of production from Derek White. He only finished with 8, was 3 of 8 from the field, 37.5%, had 5 assists. Denver also got 24 from Jamal Murray, 8 of 14, 57% from the field, 3 of 5 from 3. He had a big tomahawk dunk down the lane. I always kind of forget how good Jamal Murray is. I always forget that he went to Kentucky too. He's really great. Gary Harris has been injured throughout this season. For the most part, has been starting in this series. Finished with 8, 2 of 9 from the field. But they get really solid contribution off the bench from Will Barton, who had 12. Monte Morris had 11. Malik Beasley had 7. Plumlee had 6. Plumlee's a really good passer. Had 3 assists off the bench as a big guy. Yeah, I see this series probably going to 7 now that it's tied 2-2, and I believe we'll go back to probably go back to Denver. So I think maybe going forward for the next, I'm not sure. I think it's 2-2-1-1-1, maybe. I'm not sure I don't remember how the first round series are structured, but yeah, I don't know. That's going to be a great series to continue to look forward to. That series will probably go much further than all the other series. I think Philly probably finishes their series out. I'm going to talk about the Celtics and the Pacers series that finished on Sunday. The Bucks Pistons are up, is a 3-0 series. The Rockets Jazz is a 3-0 series. 3-1 Warriors Clippers, 3-1, 3-1 Raptors Magic, and Blazers Thunder. So that series is going to go much further than all the others. So the other 2 games from Saturday were Bucks Pistons and Rockets Jazz. I don't have tons to say about the Bucks Pistons. The Bucks are going to sweep them as that series goes back for Game 4 to the Bucks to Milwaukee. The Bucks won 119-103. Blake Griffin played, had 27 points, but like I kind of predicted, didn't really make a difference on the outcome. He was 10 of 24, 41% from the field, pretty good. 2 of 7 from 3, pretty bad, 28%. 7 rebounds, 6 assists. I don't know. I guess he did his part. He was their leading scorer. Andre Drummond had 12 points, 5 of 14 from the field, 35%, 12 rebounds. The Pistons just aren't very good. It's kind of a miracle that they made the playoffs, and pretty much the only reason that they did make the playoffs was because LeBron left the East. The playoffs in the East are exactly the same. The only team that wasn't in was the Cavs, and the Pistons kind of filled that slot. Just as the 8th seed rather than whatever the Cavs were last year, 4 or 5 seed. And then the Rockets and the Jazz. James Harden had 22 points. It says on the little thingy on NBA.com, on the little score sheet on the side, it says Harden goes 0 for 15. But then when I pull up the box score, it has Harden with 22 points, 3 of 20 from the field, 2 of 13 from 3. So I don't know what that 0 of 15 is. Yeah, I don't know. He had he was 14 of 16 from the free throw line. So the majority of his points came from the free throw line. And then the rest it looks like the rest might have been threes. What is that? 6 points on threes, plus 14 points, 20, and then 3 field goals made. That doesn't make any fucking sense. I'm so incompetent when it comes to math. 2 of 13 from 3 is 6 points. 14 points from the free throw line is 20 points. And then, field goals include threes, and he was 3 of 20 from the field, so he made 1 field goal, which gave him 22 points. There you go, Colin. Attaboy. And then 10 assists, 4 turnovers, 6 steals. It's amazing that by James Harden's standards, this is a poor game. And even with him having a poor game, they still managed to win 104-101. Utah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of Utah in the playoffs thus far. Donovan Mitchell's played well. He had 34 on 9 of 27, 33% from the field, which isn't great. 4 of 12, 33% from 3 is not very good either, but high volume shooting, and he scored a lot, but I'd like to see him be far more efficient than that. Joe Ingles was pretty underwhelming with 8 points on 33% from the field, 25% from 3. Jay Crowder, again, pretty underwhelming. Ricky Rubio had 10, 6 assists. That's probably right around his point per game average for the season. He averages 7 assists per game and 14 points per game, so a little under his point average for the season. That one probably goes back to Houston. I could see the Jazz pulling out one game, maybe the next game, game 4, but then probably losing in a game that I think would probably at home again for the Rockets. I like the Jazz. It's unfortunate that they drew the Rockets, although the West is pretty damn good, especially when it comes to the playoffs. It's unfortunate to see the Jazz go out early, but that will more than likely happen tonight. They play at 10:30 tonight. Is that game in Utah? Game details. Yeah, okay. It's in Utah. I think they'll probably win tonight in Utah, but then that will likely go back to Houston for Game 5, where the Rockets will more than likely wrap it up, probably with a big game from James Harden. Okay, before I talk about Sunday's games, this portion of the I Can Do Anything podcast is brought to you by Fluorescent Things. What an opportunity my listeners have today. Thanks for listening to the I Can Do Anything podcast. Everyone needs a little bit of light in their life, and in my professional career as a videographer, I could always use a fluorescent light or two. Fluorescent Things is my go-to online store for all things fluorescent, whether it's your standard overhead light, photo or video lighting, commercial lighting for you biologists providing the sole source of food generation for all living organisms on the earth, or simply lighting something simple for your home, maybe for a reading nook, work desk, or even a construction site with various fixture types, sizes, bulb shapes, even a repair department. Fluorescent Things will fill your life with light. They even have really random, obscure things like hats with fluorescent lights, fluorescent lighting for your bike tires, and much more for all you hipsters out there who like to be weird and different, and for those of you that like to make a statement. Fluorescent Things is the largest fluorescent sales company in the world, and my listeners can get a 25% discount if you use the promo code THINGS at checkout. That's promo code THINGS at the time of purchase for your 25% off. Thanks again for listening to the I Can Do Anything podcast. Okay. So Sunday's games, the Celtics finished off the Pacers 110-106. That was a really good game. I didn't talk, I really didn't mention this, but I guess it was kind of a given. The Nets and the Sixers game was fucking great. I had a blast watching that game. But anyways, the Celtics and the Pacers. Again, I think as the box score loads, I really feel like the Celtics distributed their points really well. Gordon Hayward came off the bench and had 20. Marcus Morris had 18 off the bench. Rozier had 11 off the bench. They all shot above 63% from the field. Gordon Hayward was 7 of 9 from the field, 3 of 3 from 3, 77% from the field. Marcus Morris was 7 of 11, 63% from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. And Terry Rozier was 4 of 6, 66% from the field, 2 of 4, 50% from 3. So great contribution off the bench. They only played 8 guys. Daniel Tice came off the bench and played 5 minutes, but didn't do really anything. He grabbed 1 rebound and got a personal foul. But other than that, everyone who came off the bench was in double figures, shot a really high percentage. Kyrie Irving had 14 on 4 of 13 shooting from the field, was 0 of 4 from 3. Jaylen Brown had 13. Al Horford had 14. Jason Tatum had 18 on 40% shooting. Jaylen Brown shot 55% from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. So yeah, they distributed their points around really well. The Pacers got 22 from Bogdanovich, 21 from Tyreek Evans off the bench, 14 from Sabonis off the bench. Darren Collison had 19, but it wasn't enough as the Celtics finished off the Pacers. So my prediction was dead wrong. I thought the Pacers might fuck around and beat the Celtics, and instead they got swept. Yeah. So I don't know who the Pacers will face next, or who the Celtics will play next. I'll pull up the playoff tree here in a second after I finish up discussion about Sunday's games. The Warriors beat the Clippers, going up 3-1 in that series. Durant had 33. Thompson had 32 on an off night for Steph Curry, who finished with 12 points on 3 of 14% shooting, or 3 of 14 shooting from the field, 21.4%, 1 of 9 for 3, but did grab 10 rebounds and had 7 assists, so did still contribute, and did hit one pretty important 3 down the stretch to kind of solidify their lead and kind of make it unreachable. But Durant was great, shot 57% from the field. Draymond had 10 points, grabbed 9 rebounds, had 5 assists, so it was pretty typical Draymond. Iguodala had 10 off the bench. They didn't get tons of contribution off the bench, and Sean Livingston's minutes have gone down pretty significantly. He only played 12 minutes, had 2 points, no assists, 1 rebound. It's interesting to see how people's roles change from series to series once the playoffs come. And, minutes just go down generally. People that would get minutes in the regular season just don't sometimes in playoff games. Jordan Bell, I don't think, has played in any of their games. Quinn Cook didn't play. Jacob Evans and Jonas Jerebko got no minutes. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had a great game. Shot 9 of 15, 60% from the field, 3 of 5 from 3, 2 assists. Patrick Beverley had 12 points. Gallinari 16. Lou Williams was pretty below average with 12 points on 2 of 10, 20% shooting from the field. His points per game are 22. So yeah, very underwhelming performance from Lou Williams. And if he would have gotten to his average, they would have won that game. Hard to hold him accountable, though. He's pretty much their well, not hard to hold him accountable. You got to hold him accountable, but hard to kind of blame him. He's pretty much carried them throughout the season and been, I would assume, their leading scorer throughout the season, and is certainly a very, very big reason why they're even in the playoffs in the first place. And then the Toronto Raptors beat the Magic 107-85 with 34 points. From Kawhi Leonard. I don't really care about that game. I didn't watch that game just because that's kind of the outcome that I thought. And the Magic are not that fun to watch, with the exception of Terrence Ross. And then the Trailblazers beat the Thunder 111-98. CJ McCollum had 27. Damian Lillard had 24 and 8 assists. On, 36% shooting. McCollum was 50% from the field. Enes Kanter had 8, 50% from the field. Al-Farouq Aminu had 19. Harkless had 15. They don't get tons of bench contribution, but Zach Collins had 10 off the bench. And then OKC got 32 from Paul George. He shot 38% from the field, which isn't great. 40% from 3, 4 of 10 is pretty good. 10 rebounds and 6 assists. But Russell Westbrook was pretty underwhelming with 14 points, 5 of 21, 23% from the field. Just horribly inefficient. I would have liked to see Paul George, who finished with 32 and shot 38% from the field, which isn't horrible, but I would guess is probably right around his average. I would have liked to see him get, 8 of the shots that Russell Westbrook took. And it probably could have helped them a decent amount. I don't know if it could have won the game for them. But I don't know. What does this say about Russell Westbrook? He's just like, the Pacers are a team that are pretty notorious for losing in the first round and having great regular seasons, but then not being able to put it together in the playoffs. And after losing in the first round last season to a fucking rookie in Donovan Mitchell, who, don't get me wrong, Donovan Mitchell's great, but you lost to a rookie. Now he's losing to a proven NBA superstar in Damian Lillard. I mean, you can't fault him there, but it seems like Westbrook and the Thunder just find ways to not win. As you know, I'm not much of a Russell Westbrook fan, but gosh, if they lose again in the first round, does Oklahoma City start to be like, man, okay, we definitely made the wrong decision. Instead of investing in James Harden, who won the MVP last year and could very well win it again this year, and is a bona fide superstar. Now, I'm not a big fan of his either, but instead of investing in him, who, I mean, Russ won his MVP now for the third year in a row, has averaged a triple-double. So, I mean, both are bona fide. I mean, both are fucking superstars. Don't get me wrong, but they didn't invest in Harden, and they lost Kevin Durant. You got to – at what point does OKC say, fuck? Fuck, we picked the wrong guy. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they'll just maybe they'll just continue to enable Westbrook and continue to lose in the first round. I think that's about all I got for today. Can I get a playoff tree? Show me the playoff tree. So the Celtics will play the winner of the Bucks Pistons. So they'll play the Bucks. That'll be a good series. And I think now, once we eliminate the Magic, once we eliminate the Pistons, and now that the Pacers have been eliminated, these series are going to get really, really good. Not that they haven't been. I think the Sixers-Nets series has been a lot more exciting than a lot of people may have thought, although there was a lot of buzz surrounding the Nets going into the playoffs and certainly the last like half of the season. But that Bucks-Celtics series will be really good. The 76ers-Raptors series will be really, really good. Yeah, so I'm excited. 2 games on tonight. The late game is the Rockets and whoever the Rockets play. Oh my gosh. Come on, internet. Rockets Jazz. That's right. Rockets Jazz, and the Bucks will likely eliminate the Pistons tonight in Detroit. I think that's all I've got for today. Thanks for listening to the I Can Do Anything podcast. And once again, the I Can Do Anything podcast, well, not once again. The I Can Do Anything podcast is brought to you by Sneaker Retort. We all buy shoes, but some of us more than others. Regardless of how much you buy shoes or how much the shoes you buy cost, or how often you purchase them, it's nice to know ahead of time if you're getting what you paid for. Sneaker Retort is the leading discussion board in the world for reviewing sneakers and is used by sneakerheads from Bangladesh to Machu Picchu. Learn about your favorite brands and connect with retail sellers. After your purchase, give a rating and review of the seller and the product so that those interested in that seller or a particular shoe or the brand can make an educated decision before they spend their hard-earned money. Whether you're a collector, a manual labor worker, a runner, or a fashionista, Sneaker Retort is your home for witty, sharp, angry, delighted, and incisive remarks, accusations, and satisfactory banter. Our members are passionate about footwear. If you have a passion for what protects your soles, sign up for a free membership to receive early release notifications and our daily newsletter featuring the latest in trends and discounts from around the world of kicks. All right, that does it, guys. Thanks for listening. And I'm going to go home and grill myself a steak and enjoy this beautiful 72-degree weather because I can do anything.